Hello, everybody. So I thought I would continue with the Jeff Sokol police interrogation because, like 99% of the planet at the moment, I'm pretty fucking bored. So why not? So it's been quite an interesting interrogation so far, I believe, in my opinion, because. Well, he's kind of he's an interesting character, this Sokol fella. He's a bit arrogant, a bit all over the place, really. The interview of the cop as well. He's got a very somber attitude. It probably serves him well because he looks like somebody that take a lot to rile up. But his interviewing style, it's frustrating for me because it's like I just speak up, man. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose that's just him, isn't it? That's just his personality. But he did ask some decent questions in the first part. I've been informed that it gets pretty good. You see, I don't watch these interviews and then do a video. That certainly is, that would be one style, but I just prefer to go over it, it's like a reveal, go over it initially myself and just record it at the same time, We're sort of watching it together then, aren't we? You know what I mean? So anyway, shall we crack on?
My case, okay, for this is obviously there's a lot of text there,
Yeah.
but I was trying to do things or make it so I wasn't breaking the law.
What the fuck is he on about? It's just somebody. It's really like somebody trying to get out of an impossible situation, isn't it? And he's just coming up with all kinds of nonsense. Like when you ask somebody that who's like a bit of a know-it-all, you ask him a question he just doesn't know the answer to, but yet he's going to give you a ridiculous response. It's kind of like that.
If I decided at some point that I wanted to, have any relations with her, I was trying to make sure that it was legal.
And how were you going to accomplish that goal? Time travel, moving her to the Philippines, doctoring a birth certificate, changing the constitution, some kind of bizarre alternate timeline. Do you know what I mean?
Otherwise, I wasn't going to do anything.
I'll explain that a little bit.
If I came down and I liked her, she liked me.
Right.
I thought he was going to say then. If I came down, I was like, we're thinking, oh, he's like talking in some kind of superhero. Like, if I came down with unlimited powers, I was going to magic her to the age of 16 or make it that I couldn't be prosecuted. I was like a superhero that couldn't ever be prosecuted.
She was cool and didn't feel like she was.
Or he could get, Saul Goodman on the job. I watched season 5 of Better Call Saul. For anybody really enjoyed it. I was like plodding along with the earlier seasons, but it got fucking good.
Mature or too young or too, the same. If I felt like I was on the same, level as her, like,
Same level as her. Wow.
Emotionally and whatnot. I mean, I wanted to, I didn't want to do anything that was breaking the law. So that's why I researched that.
Of course you fucking didn't.
I would never, I mean, that's like ridiculous that you guys thought that I would bring a contract down.
Well, we were going, I believe, through your
You're
texting,
interpreting,
I don't know.
you're interpreting it, but I mean,
Well,
it's not.
maybe we are, I don't know, but I also see that you're mentioning that a 44-year-old guy shouldn't be talking to a 13-year-old girl like
I'll
this.
tell you
Right,
what.
and so
That's
I
your
felt guilty
figure out
about
exactly
it.
what
Yeah,
he said.
language, not mine.
I felt guilty about
So here we have the chat log. And I've just had there's too much of it to go into in this video because this is primarily looking at the chat at the interview. But I've had to scan through it, and he's like really paranoid about the cops. I mean, he's going on about it all the time, like asking her to pose for certain photos in certain ways, so he knows she's genuine. He mentions jail. He goes into her age. I've not read it in detail. At some point he says she's 14, and at other points he says she's 13. So I don't know how old the decoy actually said she was, because I know that in the last video the interviewer kept saying 12, but it potentially, as it said in some of the comments, it potentially could have been a tactic to invoke him to admit that she was underage. But he'd already done that. But it could be something that. But let me explain. Have you ever heard of a prenuptial agreement in marriage? No. Sometimes when people get married, they sign this agreement, usually between someone rich and someone not so rich. It protects the rich person in case of a divorce. When the not so rich person gets divorced, they can sue for 50% of the rich person's assets, which is commonplace. It's a shitty situation to have to sign this agreement when getting married, but people do it in case there is a problem. So theoretically, the rich person could be screwed over if there is a potential divorce. The prenup protects him. Our situation is similar, but there is no agreement. The way it's similar is I have to trust you throughout the whole time we are together, potentially to not reveal our relations if we had sex. That is right now. I trust you, and I am sure I will after I meet you, but I can't predict the future. Shit happens. People change. Yes, true. People turn on one another. Yes. I have been around. I know shit can happen. And he's a charming speaker, isn't he? And you would have to be an idiot to not think it's possible. I'm getting what you are saying. I'm not a dick. I wouldn't do that, but I understand why you keep asking. Theoretically, it just means that something is possible, whether highly likely or not. And again, I am not saying you would do this to me, but anything is possible. I understand seriously that there are assholes in this world, especially rich people and their money. Oh my God, do you know what statutory rape is? I wouldn't sign an agreement. No, I don't. I wouldn't sign an agreement. There is no agreement to sign in our situation. So what are you going on about then, man? I meant if I was marrying a rich guy. But then he may not marry you, but that's how it is. Lots of celebrities do it. You've already said that. If you don't sign it, it makes you look selfish, like you're marrying the guy for his money. That's how it looks in the public eye. But statutory rape is me fucking you. That's statutory rape. Punishment up to 20 years in prison. I mean, this guy knows exactly what he's getting himself into. I was reading about it. I think you should too. But what if I want to and I'm okay with it? It's still a felony. If the police found out, it wouldn't matter what you said. Again, read up on it. That's dumb. Risking 20 years prison is a big deal. That's why I'm worried. I wish there wasn't a law. Well, obviously you do. Well, I'm not saying anything. The law needs to worry about the real crime, not if two people want to have sex. Doesn't matter. We can't change it. Let's say you lied about your age and told me you were 18 and we had sex and police found out. I could still be arrested and convicted. So we've established at this point that he doesn't think that she's a decoy because he's going into, you know what I mean? It's like he obviously doesn't know the law. He says he's read up on it, but he's not done a very good job because he doesn't realise that even having a conversation like this with the intention to meet, he was breaking the law, and that's why he initially argued with Chris Hansen in the house. I could still be arrested and convicted. There is also part of the law. Consent means nothing. This is really dumb. So listen, Bailey, can you understand why I am paranoid? Yes, I still want to meet you, which is harmless, but I want to meet you too. Can't help but think about being attracted to you and still wanting to fuck you, so it's all the same, most likely. I can't answer that. Okay. Right. I don't understand what the fuck he was talking about here with this this agreement thing. Let me explain. Right. As much as I want to meet you, I'm nervous about the fact that I could be breaking the law with serious consequences. Sorry, I'm paranoid. For me to meet, no, potentially having sex, not saying we will, but that but that is where breaking the law comes in. You know this is not a pleasant thought, but if we dated and we got into a fight... What? If we dated and we got into a fight and then you press charges against me for sex with a minor, I will be So he's anticipating physical confrontation? This guy must have been involved in domestic violence if he's had relationships before. You don't get into a... If you get into a relationship pre-planning for physical violence, there's something wrong. And I'm not saying that everybody that gets involved in domestic violence is evil, because shit can happen. Because the other person might turn on you and then you deal with it. But if you're anticipating it, what does that say about your character? I mean, he's obviously arrogant and kind of not right, this guy. So there's going to be problems there. But I don't understand what his idea was of... Just means something is possible. There is no agreement to sign in our situation. So what the fuck were you going on about then? Have you ever heard... I think it should be sure. Yes, are you still there? Sorry, Mum was calling me. You don't get it. Have you ever heard of a prenuptial agreement in marriage? Right now, I trust you and I'm sure, but I can't predict shit happens. People turning on one another. Blah, 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 blah. Let's say you... So he says here... the way it's similar is that I have to trust you throughout the whole time we are together, potentially, not to reveal our relations if we had sex, that is. Right now I trust you and I am sure I will after I meet you, but I can't predict the future. So what is the point of mentioning this prenuptial agreement? I don't know whether he's trying to sort of let her know how important trust is, whether he's trying to frighten her. I don't understand that, really, what he was getting at. It's very, very strange. Anyway, let's see if that can shed any more light on what he talks about.
And you think you might be on the same wavelength as her?
There's plenty of, young people I see on TV that are pretty smart, pretty mature.
13.
They're out there, yeah.
No, there might be, I don't know, there could be a couple out there, I think. Either they could be mature, but maybe they look like a little kid, or they could look older, but they're very immature. There's a reason these laws are in place, right? I mean, to protect people.
Right, and I said that to her.
Meaning what? I'm still, you kind of expounded on it before, but you're like, I want to do things with her, so in case I did have feelings for her and I liked her, like it would be legal. I don't know what that means. She's still, let's just say 13, because you mentioned 13 right here. So how does that still make it legal?
I don't know, she said she was turning 14, but okay. How does it make what legal?
You just said that. How would it make it okay if you're going to do things with her and she's 13 and you ultimately had relations with her, intercourse, how does it make it legal?
It wouldn't unless her mom consented to
What?
Marriage. It's the only way it would be legal.
So you're gonna marry a 13-year-old girl with her mother's permission?
Maybe when she's 16, I would do that. Why is that like so hard to believe?
Whoa. I mean, what a bizarre thing to say. Is like, He's talking about doing a lawn. Wait until she's a certain age, then marry her, propose to her at this age. I mean, it does happen. I say it does happen in the world. It has happened. Even famous people have got involved in that kind of stuff. But in the modern day, for a 40-year-old bloke in his position, it's very unusual. Why is he for him to come back at the officer and go, what's weird about that? It's like, what did you just say?
Why is it hard to believe?
Yeah, that could happen.
I can't say I've even ever heard of it. Actually,
If I wanted to like,
maybe in other countries it happens.
wanted to not break the law, that's what I would have to do.
You would marry her now. You're 44. She's 13.
Yeah, I haven't broken the law. I mean, so that's the thing. It's all like you're speculating what I was going to do based on conversations.
You also drove here. You didn't just like have chats which are bad enough.
So what?
You actually drove 2 hours. You're like basically my age. You drove 2 hours to meet a girl. Most guys.
Yeah, you're putting it all together, right? Most guys would.
Most guys younger than us, our age, older than us, if given the opportunity,
Right.
they might get in the car on a Saturday night and drive 2 hours if they think they're going to find, something that feels good at the end of the rainbow. But are they just going to do it to maybe meet somebody?
Most guys? So you're saying most guys, so it's like.
You're driving from Boston.
You're saying most guys.
Right.
That's not me.
Well, what are you? Tell me who you are. Because based on the text and the behavior you exhibited, I'd say you fit right in there. You just happen to like them much younger than what's normal.
Maybe.
Or illegal.
Maybe I enjoyed.
I must admit, I did initially when the interview started. I didn't like the interviewer because he was, very, very low-key, monotone voice, which, from a personal perspective, annoys me. But the fact that it's more like a conversation rather than an interview is kind of good. It's interesting to watch. And it's for the first time in the last 20 seconds he's actually got, I wouldn't say he's got irate or anything, but he's certainly getting a bit agitated a little bit. I would say not agitated, but a little bit more vocal and a little bit more aggressive in the way he's, of course, you're going to get personally invested in it. You're a cop and a guy, especially if he's got a young family, this guy's a creep, he's not admitting he's doing something wrong. I would imagine that's the most frustrating thing. He's sat from you and he's lying his ass off. He's chatting shit to you. You're being lied to by not a very nice member of society.
Just, talking about it. I don't know.
With a 12 or 13-year-old girl.
When I went through the chat log briefly, he's very. I didn't see any parts that were overly graphic, but he's consistently talking about sex. It's quite clear. No one could look at that unless you were Lorne and say that isn't what he was going to do. It's quite clear. There's no doubt about it. If you ever needed proof other than him actually turning up.
That's a problem. I don't know you. I never saw you before in my life. That's a major league problem.
Didn't seem like it.
Didn't seem like what?
Just seemed more mature than that. More than,
Compared to what? Like a 28-year-old woman? Like a 22-year-old girl? You're talking about a 12 or 13-year-old girl. And she's acting like she's 18? Yeah, so what? She still tells you she's 13 years old. You're 44. I mean, seriously, that's a major league problem.
And he's hitting him straight with it, isn't he? Like, he's trying to, this Sokol fella's trying to worm his way out of it by coming up with all kinds of crazy arguments, like fucking a marriage agreement with her mother, I wasn't going to do anything, and, fucking whatever, he's fucking the stars weren't aligned in a certain position. That means I can never lie under those circumstances. It's like, what the fuck? And he's just dismissing all of that as you would do, and just coming at him with it. Listen, she's a fucking 12 or 13-year-old girl. He still doesn't seem to know the age potentially, but you're a 44-year-old bloke, and he's suddenly been stunned for a few seconds. So even he's kind of taken aback by his own bullshit, because he knows that, how far is he going to take this lie?
According to the law, it is.
But according to what, you, it's not?
In my head.
In your head, maybe.
Knowing what I was there for. Knowing that I was not dangerous, that I was not a threat to her, that I was not planning on having sex.
Not planning on having sex? What if you just happen to meet a girl that is like, you know what, for whatever reason, she's only 12 or 13, but man, she's a pistol, and she's all over you. What are you going to do, push her away?
Yeah, if I knew I could go to jail, I would.
You would?
Oh, yes.
And why did you bring the Cialis?
You know what, that was in my car.
I don't care where it was. It was in your pocket.
That's
fine.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it in the car.
And I said, what's in here? Just I believe it said like CVS, either ibuprofen or something like that. You're like, yeah, that's all it is. And then we researched it. It's just
right. Sorry, I just.
So you're not even.
Sorry.
Like, why don't you tell me the truth?
I just got handcuffed. I just got handcuffed. I don't even remember answering you, to be honest with you. But
no big deal. But it's not like you had some other medicine, like I won't even pick it out of the top of my head, that's like completely unrelated to any kind of sexual interlude. This is like right up that alley, right? It's correct.
It's something.
So the chat, the drive, the Cialis,
no.
The fact that for some reason you think that this is like some innocent meeting between a
So he took a sexual aid. It's as good as just whapping out a fucking condom and sticking it on the table, wasn't it? I cannot.
Sure, 12-year-old.
It's pretty hard-faced of him to not admit it at this point.
I carry the Cialis around. I just do. And, sometimes I leave it in my car.
I always have condoms because of diseases. A guy would have to be stupid not to. It's the same bullshit, isn't it?
Doesn't it belong in a prescription bottle?
No.
It doesn't?
No, that's smaller. I usually carry. I have other pills too that I put in there.
Right. You don't see a problem with any of this, like honestly.
I didn't say that.
Well,
good question.
So you see a problem with it?
I see a potential problem.
Do you have like nieces, nephews, whoever in your life, in your family?
Yep.
I don't know their ages, but maybe some are around her age.
Honestly, Detective, I did not think I was breaking the law to come meet a girl. I honestly didn't. If you read the whole text, read everything, you can see how scared I was to meet.
It's a flawed argument. It really is what he's saying. He's saying, right, you read the chat log and see how many times I get paranoid about getting caught. So that means I wouldn't have done anything. Well, you could believe that if he didn't turn up, or after like one conversation, he's like, you know what, I can't do this. I had a lapse in judgment. I've thought better of it. He's turned up, drove 2.5 hours, went in for a hug. It's all the same scenarios we've seen before, but yet he just will not admit it. Which, as I've said in other videos before, I understand these people are not going to voluntarily give up their freedom. They're going to fight to the last breath. But as a lot of them do, common sense surely would take over and you go, you know what? I'm screwed. I'm completely screwed. There's no way of getting out of this.
Meet her. Just
listen.
Just scared of the whole situation.
You're scared of her for basically one reason, and the reason is that your clear intention was to have sex with her. Because if it truly was just to meet somebody You wouldn't even be nervous about it. You'd be like, screw it. I have no interest in having
Well,
sex with this girl.
it's a situation.
Just chatting. My right hand to God, and I'll swear to the parents, and they could be home for that matter. I'd love to meet them too, and my intentions are pure. Your intentions were not pure. That's why you had the reservations you had, right?
It was a new situation too, and you've never done it before, so yeah.
But you're 44, and
I
she's
also know
12,
that
13.
There's all these laws about, like,
Thank God there are, right?
about minors.
What if there weren't?
Listen, I know what I'm capable of.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you think that I'm bullshitting you.
No, you're trying to like kind of massage the corner.
I wouldn't have done anything. I would have been able to. Tony knows I wouldn't have. Mom knows I wouldn't have. Oh, I think we can go a bit longer actually.
But do I think you're realizing and being honest with yourself and with me about what you did? No, I don't actually. But I mean, you're talking about it, and I appreciate that. But you're not. If you truly looked in the mirror and thought about what's going on or what you did tonight.
That's just because I don't feel like I did anything wrong.
Well, if you want to keep it in the straight and narrow and say, all I did was come here and bring her a pizza. Yeah, I mean, any uncle, any neighbor, any guy could certainly do that, any softball coach, whatever, as long as it's kind of like, the parents know and there's nothing creepy going on. Yeah, in and of itself, is that fine? Sure. But if that softball coach or whoever it may be is texting all kinds of things about having sex with the girl and her pussy and and send me a pic and everything else, and you're only 13 and I'm 44, and then you research the statutes and you drive 2 hours on a Saturday night and you bring Cialis with
Get out of this one, you motherfucker.
you, and there's a reference of a marriage contract because that'll somehow make it legal. It's fucked up.
Oh, boom. I love it. I have to take back everything I've said about this guy. That's great. Like, it's fucked. After all that, is like, it's fucked up. That's just like, it's exactly what I would have said. That is awesome. Let's see what this guy says, shall we? What are we thinking? Another word? Well, it's good. It's obviously going to be another fucking sidestep, innit?
Honestly, like, be honest with yourself. You can try to bullshit me all day long. It doesn't really matter to me. Most of the
Oh, brilliant. I'm loving this guy more and more. That's exactly right. End of the day, don't take it personally. I don't give a shit. Just fucking, this is on you. He's putting it all on him. It's really good.
The people that I talk to aren't exactly honest. But if you ever want to get well and maybe get past this point.
But he needs to shut up now because he's asked him the brilliant questions, and the more he rambles, the more difficult it is for him to answer them because the correct one, because there's too many being thrown at him.
In your life and not be back here sometime in the future
or
somewhere else for that matter, or in a bad place.
I agree. It's not something that
seriously
I should be doing, and I said that.
Yeah,
I said that.
That's a problem. If your first kind of thought about this was probably a correct one. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is wrong. I shouldn't need to research a statute to see if I'm able to hang out with a 13-year-old girl and talk about.
Exactly. And the questioning's good. I'm not taking anything away from the cop, but he's not trying to get a murder confession out of somebody where there's only circumstantial evidence. You've got a fucking... It's like, basically, you're like a full army going at someone who's got a fucking pea shooter. Do you know what I mean? You've got everything. You've got everything at your disposal to throw at him, and he's got nothing other than bullshit to throw at you. You know what I mean? So that's why he's, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him, but it's very easy to throw all this at him.
Having sex with her. We're not talking like senior in high school or something. We're not in 6th, 7th grade, right?
It's not gonna
You're
happen.
40.
Not
tonight. You just said before. You if things worked out and you ended up having relations, you wanted to know kind of like it would be legal.
Right,
I think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it unless it was legal.
It wouldn't do it. So the Cialis is just.
That's just a stupid thing to say. I wouldn't do it unless it was legal. Well, it's not legal, so you do it if you could somehow manipulate the law to your own advantage and get a mum to sign some kind of bizarre fucking marriage agreement that doesn't exist anyway, it's like, what on earth is this guy on? I think he's got some mental health problems, this guy, like some quite, significant ones. There's something not right. I mean, you could probably say that about all of them to some degree, but his logic, I think there was something that was said in his trial, some kind of trauma he'd had or something in the past.
I'm going to keep it just in case, and I'm driving 2 hours to meet a 12-year-old because I'm sure she's got a wonderful conversation and she's really interesting to chat to. You have a college degree. Where do you work?
And the thing is as well, right, I was talking to this girl at work the other week, and she's pretty hot actually, but she's only like early 20s, and there's nothing fucking wrong with that at my age, but I was like really struggling to like, I've kind of looked at her for a while. I was like, she's pretty mint. And we've been friendly for quite a while, and like I was chatting to her, and as I was like, you can message people like on this fucking, it was emailing, and as we were emailing, it was like, God, this conversation's getting boring. Do you know what I mean? It's like the shit that she talks about just doesn't fucking interest me at all. And you can, it's very, very difficult. And like you're saying here, oh yeah, some girls are that age. No girls that age you can speak to on a level. Family's different because you have family in common, and you go out of your way to relate to them, and go down to their level, if you will, not in a superiority sense, but you know what I mean. At that age, a 44-year-old bloke and a 13-year-old girl zip in common. Unless I keep mentioning him, don't I? But like Lorne's got the mentality of someone that age in some ways, like emotionally, he's like that. I've not detected that from this guy. He's not broke down in fucking tears and Mr. Penis and Miss Vagina and all that nonsense, you know what I mean? So, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. It's been kind of interesting, a bit of fun, hasn't it? We've got shitloads to go through. We've got another, well, no, not got shit. Well, actually, yeah, we've got another hour of this to go. How much of that will actually be the interview? There might be some, we're 36 minutes in, so we've got another hour left. But yeah, please give me a shout in the comments. Let me know if you're enjoying it. Give me any comments that you feel about the interview, something that I've missed, because obviously it does happen. What you think about this guy, what you think about the cop, what you think about his crazy fucking cosmic excuses, blah blah blah. So I will leave it there, and I will speak to you soon. Take it easy.